And then later on, or sorry, in the time of this is before David, sorry, in a different time, the ark is stolen by the Philistines, and it brings calamity on them until they return it. Right? And the same concept. The presence of God is in the ark. So when you have Jesus,
So
same
what
stuff.
would Jews say about that verse?
Huh?
What would the Jews say about that verse?
I have no idea. You have to go ask the Jews.
I don't think they'll interpret that way.
Well, they have to admit that the presence of God is in the ark. 'Cause
Presence.
yeah. So there's this idea. There's an idea of the Shekinah or the dwelling, and that's basically it. It's a Jewish
Well,
concept.
you know, it reminds me of a verse in the Old Testament.
And by the way, like, no offense, but it doesn't matter what the Jews say regarding this stuff because they have their own means of interpretation. It's like me if I said, "Oh well, the Shia don't agree with you." Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, it reminds me of another verse in the Bible. Where, I don't know where exactly, but in the Old Testament, where Jacob says, "My temple can't contain you."
Solomon.
Oh yeah, Solomon
Yeah.
says, "My temple can't contain
Contain
you."
you, yeah.
Let alone, no, this earth can't contain you.
Exactly.
Let alone my temple.
Exactly.
So like, how would that fit into this part of the covenant?
Because the dwelling is not the literal full presence of God.
Some of this.
Yes. Well, if you put some, yes. It's a portion, if you will. Yeah. It's just not because the fullness can't dwell in. So the fullness of God cannot dwell in our reality. So you know that thing you say when you guys say God can't enter His creation.
Yeah.
We actually agree with you. The fullness of God cannot permeate the finite reality. However, there are ways that God can interact directly with us, and those ways are in the dwelling that we have in the temple, in something also that we call theophanies, the burning bush, the pillar of fire, and in Jesus. So those are the three ways by revelation that we can see how God can interact with us personally. But God has never entered creation in His magnitude because the limited creation cannot contain the infinity of God.
So it's like a part of God.
Well, not a part of God, but the presence of God. Yeah. So there's different places that we can hold where God's presence is stronger for a moment in time. So when you see, for example, the burning bush, in that instance, God's presence is highly focused in that particular area at that time, which is why you can hear the voice of God and see the fire.
But there's another thing that reminds me of. So you know the second commandment. Don't give yourself any graven image.
Sure.
Because God is not like anything that comes in the sea.
Well, it doesn't say that. It says don't make unto yourself any image of anything above, on the earth, beneath the earth, and don't bow down to them and worship them. So yes, don't make unto yourself any image and worship it as God. Yes.
Yeah, because God doesn't resemble any of those things.
Yes.
So, but Jesus resembles a human being.
Yes.
Doesn't that contradict?
Which is why the Catholic and Orthodox churches make what they call icons of Jesus. We know what he looked like, an Israeli man. So you can make an image of him, but you can't make an image, for example, of the Father or the divine essence.
But some Christians do that as well.
Yes, but the depictions of God the Father aren't allowed.
So it's not allowed.
And they appear in like some like classic paintings or whatever, but historically that's not allowed. And then even today, actually, you won't go into a church and find like an icon of God the Father because no one knows what he looks like.
Yeah, but some depict him as a white old man in like churches. Like you see the triune like depiction in the.
Well, you shouldn't depict the Father, from my understanding. And him being a white man is just a case of people depicting them in a way that mirrors them, which is like whatever. Like some will argue you can't do that. Some will say you can. As you're aware, there's churches in Brazil, in Africa, in Ethiopia that depict them a different way. But the same thing also happens in like Japan and Korea, different way. Now, some will argue, oh, it's fine, whatever. Make him look like you. Some will say, no, you can't. He has to look as he did, an Israeli man. He wouldn't be Arabic, no.
The Bible, give me the verse.
He's Israeli. From the house of David. That's not an Arabic house. It's an Israeli house. The Arabs are different people.
Okay, so he came from like the Isaac, or what you say?
Yeah. So he'll come from Isaac. Yes, not from the like an Arabic line. Yeah. Well, actually, I actually found a hadith that says that Ishmael actually joined the Arabs. So there's a hadith that says, of course Sahih, that says Ishmael joined the Arabs and learned their ways. So apparently the Arabs were already a pre-existing people before Ishmael even got there.
Isn't it like a universal agreement that the Arabs came from Ishmael?
Well, that's what you guys say popularly. But your hadith is otherwise. You don't see it.
I mean, I'll be free to see it.
I got it on me. I got it on my bookmarks, so I can get it on for you.
I know there's something called the previous Arabs that were destroyed in the Bible, or the Amalekites.
So I don't think the Amalekites were Arabs. I think Arabs are a much later people.
Because I heard that the Amalekites were like the original Arabs, and they got wiped out.
Well, it'd be hard to call them Arabs if they didn't like speak Arabic or have an Arabic culture. Yeah, I think that, so. Many people groups have occupied that land over time. The Arabs are a more recent one, but I don't think that their culture and language goes back like 5,000 years. I don't think it goes that far back. I'm not ignoring you, I'm just looking for the thing, but carry on.
If you ask like Jews and Arabs and Christians, all agree that Arabs are like Ishmaelites.
I think that's a popular understanding, but it's not historical.
But isn't it biblical? Because
no.
If you look at Kedar, which is Ishmael's grandson, his location could be found in the Arabic Peninsula.
Yes, but there are other people who could also descend from him other than the Arabs. There's many other people groups there. Like read the Old Testament. There's the Hittites, Jebusites, Amalekites, Tamorites. There's so many people who could be. Midianites. All in that area, Arabian Peninsula, Jerusalem, Egypt, in Syria, that general Levant area. So it could be. You can say it's the Arabs, but a million people groups can claim it's them too. So
if someone outside the Arabs claim it as well, then wouldn't it make sense that they are?
Not necessarily. If they simply claiming it because the Arabs claim it, then that isn't so strong enough reason than why.
No, not because the Arabs claim it, but if another ethnic group like claim it as well.
Where are they getting the info from? Is what I want to know. Are they getting it from the Arabs or from someone else?
No, if you get it from Ancestry.
All right, here's the thing.
It's in Bukhari.
Yeah, it's in Bukhari, right? So, I've gone down significantly, but you can get it for yourself. It's Bukhari 3364. 3364. I'm talking about this area right here. So, okay, so they settled there. They implied. Okay, let me start here. The Prophet Ishmael's mother was sitting near water, then asked her, "Do you allow us to stay with you?" She replied, "Yes, but you will have no right to possess the water." They agreed to that. The Prophet further said, Ishmael's mother was pleased with the whole situation, as she used to love to enjoy the company of people. So they settled there, and later on they sent their families, for their families, who became permanent residents. The child, i.e. Ishmael, grew up and learnt Arabic from them, and his virtues caused them to love and admire him as he grew up. And when he reached the age of puberty, they made him marry a woman from among them. So Ishmael would be a half Egyptian, half Egyptian, half sorry, one second, I'm trying to remember, not Canaanites. So Abraham was a Chaldean. A Chaldean. Yeah, ancient Mesopotamian people. This is before Babylon, right?
Abraham.
Yeah, way before Babylon. So he was a Chaldean, and Hagar was an Egyptian. So Ishmael is half Chaldean and half Egyptian. And according to your own source here, Sahih Bukhari 3364, he joined the people who were the Arabic people, and he married into them. So he himself isn't an Arab. He's a Chaldean and an Egyptian.
No one claims that Ishmael's Arab.
Well, you guys claim he's the father of the Arabs, but he's not.
But if he learned Arabic and married into an Arab woman, then his offspring would be Arab-speaking people.
Right, but he can't be the. So Abraham, for example, is the father of the Jews, father of faith, right? Because he is their earliest descendants, right? However, Ishmael isn't the father of the Arabs. He's still being married into them.
If he married into them.
That was making the father. A father implies paternity.
I
Like
know.
he is the cause of.
Yeah, because he married into the Arabs, and his offspring became the Arab people, isn't it? The Arab people came from his offspring, basically.
No, they already existed.
Oh, so yeah, but he married into them. So the Arabs are his offspring. Because the Arabs could trace their ancestry.
The
back to
Arabs
him.
existed.
Yeah.
He joined them. So he's not their father.
So you're saying that...
For example, say you marry an Indian woman.
Yeah.
And you have children that are, I'm guessing you're East African?
So yeah, Somali.
Smart. If you have children that are half Indian and half Somali, does that now make you the father of the Indians?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
So that's what Ishmael did here.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'll let you read it again.
I know you're saying.
Yeah.
He married an Arab-speaking woman, not Arab. I'm saying
So
that
the people, according to this text, must have been Arab.
Arab speaking.
So can you be Arab speaking in the ancient world, but not Arabic?
Yeah, no, obviously an Arab-speaking person is going to be Arab.
Okay, so
With Ishmael-
the Arabs were pre-existing people.
Yeah.
He married into them in the same way that the Indians, for example, already exist. And you marrying into them will not cause you to be considered to be their father.
How does it negate the fact that the Arabs come from Ishmael?
Because according to your text, they don't.
But no, where does it say that they don't come from it? It says
Because they already exist before he's born.
yeah, just because they already existed and people are living in that area, that doesn't mean that the Arab people, as they are today, didn't descend from him. Because he is still Arabic and married an Arab woman, his descendants could still end up being Arab people.
Okay, so for what you're saying to be true, somehow it must have been the case that every Arab man in that time was killed and only Ishmael prevails.
I'm not making that claim. I'm just saying that to negate the fact that all the Arab people are not Ishmael because he married an Arab-speaking woman, it's not enough to falsify it.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay, so question. In this group, would they have been men and women or no?
Well, of course.
Okay, these men and women had children,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Ishmael had children.
Yeah.
Why do the Arabs only descend from Ishmael and not the other couples?
I don't know about that.
That's my problem with your claim.
But this is not something that's well established within the Abrahamic faith.
I think it's assumed.
It's not because Jews don't really mess with it.
So
They would have made the claim for us if it was true. If it was true, the claim would only be coming from us. Like
So
Muslims.
I
it's
think
not.
that the Jewish claim of the Ishmaelites, or even John of Damascus, one of the early Christians who interacted with Islam, he called it an Ishmaelite heresy. So from what I
What is the
Islam,
John the Baptist?
no, John of Damascus,
Okay.
from the 7th century. He called Islam an Ishmaelite heresy. Now, I think simply that maybe colloquially or by self-determination, the Arabs came somehow to be known as Ishmaelites. I cannot tell you if that name was put on them or if they chose it. I don't know.
So even pre-Islamic Arabia, the Arabs knew that they were Ishmael, so they preserved that lineage, because they didn't have any knowledge about the other prophets.
I don't know about this claim that they claimed to be from Ishmael. I don't know how you can prove that.
If you dig in, pre-Islamic Arabia, they did identify as Ishmaelites.
I'm a bit skeptical about a lot of pre-Islamic history.
You know the story of Moses,
Yeah?
how he went to Midian. The Midianites are Ishmaelites as well. Are they not? Are they not? Are you sure? Have you seen the movie, what's the movie, Ten Commandments?
Abraham has 3 sons.
Three.
3.
Are you sure not two? Who's the third?
Midian.
No way. There's no way. I only know Ishmael and Isaac.
Let me show you, my friends. Let me show you.
I only know Abraham had 2 sons. Isaac
There's a third one.
and Ishmael.
Let me show you.
So the Midianites came from him.
From Midian. Ain't it crazy? that's why I love the Bible, man. The Bible is so dope in that way. The stories connect in this like insane fashion, man.
I don't know
Let me show you, man. I would actually encourage you to read the Bible. Stuff from Genesis downwards. I would encourage you to do it.
Midian, Isaac, and Ishmael.
Yep. So, Abraham took another wife. This is Genesis 25 verse 1. Whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran, I hate these names, man. Jokshan, Midian, Midian, Isbak, and Shawa.
That's 5, bro.
Yeah, well, there's 5 others.
So you have,
right?
so you have 7 in total.
Huh?
So you have
7 in total, right? So the Midianites are from Midian, who isn't Ishmael. So the Midianites wouldn't be Ishmaelites.
Okay. I didn't know about Midian. I saw
The Bible's dope, man. It's so dope.
Really 10 commandments.
Yeah.
They said that they descended Ishmael in one part.
That would be incorrect then, from a like a narrative point of view. Is that the cartoon or a different one?
The old one.
You've seen Prince of Egypt, right?
Yeah.
Now, Prince of Egypt is interesting because at the very end, you know how like the waves come down on Pharaoh, but at the end he's on a rock saying Moses, right? So the Bible doesn't say that happens. No. The Bible actually leaves it open. We don't know if Pharaoh was with the chariots or if he stayed behind and had them give chase. Because historically, Ramses died in his old age. Yeah, when he was 90. The Quran claims that he was buried, but he didn't. We have his sarcophagus.
Yeah, the Quran also said that we left his body at the side.
Right, but his body was mummified by people and not the water.
Was it?
Yes.
I heard that the body remained fresh until this day.
Mummification, an actual process where human beings take out your internal organs and embalm you.
Yeah, but the Quran said we left him fine. Did the Bible not say he was lost?
No.
You sure?
Nope.
So I'm pretty
Leaves
sure-
it open. So if the Quran is saying that Allah left him, well, historically human beings embalmed him. So who's correct?
Yeah, if the Quran says that Allah left him, like left at the side, and then humans did it, that doesn't negate the fact that Allah caused his body to stay with us at the side. It's like, for example, there's many examples, like where God doesn't really do himself, but it happens through other people.
Okay. All right. How about this? How does Pharaoh die in the Quran?
In the Quran, I think he drowned.
Ramses died of old age.
So Ramses proven to be
Ramses II, yes.
like proven.
Well, prove it in this sense. We have a dating that we can give to the Exodus, the 12th century BC, right? We can look at all the possible pharaohs of that time, including that the Bible, by the way, actually mentions the storehouses of Ramses in the Exodus story.
Does it name him by name?
Well, they don't mention the pharaoh's name, but they mention a storehouse as the storehouse of Ramses. Yep. So using biblical data and historic data, we can try to marry the time of the Exodus to the reign of Ramses II.
But you're mirroring that with the Bible, though. So you're using
Well,
the Bible.
you have nowhere else to get that information from. The information for the creation story, Exodus, the Ark, the exploits of the Israelites in like the Middle East or whatever. The primary source of that stuff is going to be from biblical text, and then anything else that we can get from history. The Quran isn't here to offer a expansive story of these events. It's meant to assume, from my understanding, that people already know what these things are and just brings their attention to components of it. So yes, I'm using the Bible because the Bible will serve as the primary description of the story.
But to use the Bible to measure it with everything else, it would have to be historically accurate. But if I show you...
There's many ways that it is, yes.
If I show you places where it's historically inaccurate, then it can't be used as a criteria.
Okay, so what I'll say here is, I will use a Quranic example, if you don't mind. The Quran says that some of it is clear and some of it is unclear, right?
Yeah.
So, and you believe the Quran comes from God in a direct fashion.
Yeah.
So I can openly appeal to the fact, just being very simple here, I can appeal to the fact that since the Bible is written by men and inspired by God, some components of it can be accurate and some cannot be. But that doesn't change the fact that the primary evidence for these things exists within the Bible. For example, if I'm an atheist and I come to you as a Muslim and I want you to give me a date range for Moses, what will you tell me?
date. The Quran didn't do that, so I couldn't.
Okay, then I'm going to say he's an imaginary figure.
What?
An imaginary figure.
But just simply because of the fact that he didn't give a date. Or,
Yeah, how do I know he's not from like 100 BC, for example? You have to appeal to biblical data to get that information.
But it goes back to like saying, like, remember you said like some of it might be true, some of it might not be because of
There might be inaccuracies, absolutely,
So how do we know
but we still use it. So okay, let's just say how do we know what is? What closely comports with reality? What can we evidence?
So it's like estimate, you're estimating.
Absolutely, because I cannot tell you that I am 100% certain that every detail in the Bible is exactly accurate. I can't say that to you.
Yeah, exactly. So like if the whole thing isn't 100 accurate, you can't like base the facts.
Nothing is 100% accurate because that would imply perfection. So I can say God is 100% accurate, but human beings are not.
Okay, yeah, but to like say that Ramses II has to be the actual pharaoh.
It's either him or another potential idea is the guy called Akhenaten.
Yeah, so we're not sure like who he was 100%.
We're not sure because from what we've gathered so far from Egyptian data, it's one of the two. But the problem is that we arrive at the conclusion not because of the Quran, because of the Bible and the details that we have from there.
I never claim that the whole Bible is false. I mean, I believe there's truth.
I understand your position, but I'm just saying that's how we will hold things. But definitely, read that Bible, man. It's the coolest book ever, man. I guarantee you.
I mean, that thing about Midian, I've never heard of it till now.
There's so many things you haven't heard of. And I think if you just take some time, like I'm not saying like speed the entire thing today. Take 10 years if you want.
It's massive, isn't it?
It's massive, right? But read the narratives. They're so good. And the thing I love about it the most, right? When no stone is left unturned. Something that can be set up in Genesis can have a payoff later in like Isaiah. And you're like, oh snap, I remember that thing. And it got paid off. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you get time, my friend, have a look at it.
I mean, the Bible's massive, but...
I didn't say do it today. I said take 10 years if you want. Read it slowly, please. Understand what you're reading.
I need to go to the Quran first. I haven't even memorized half of it yet. Yeah.
Whenever you get the time.
I mean, okay, yeah. It was interesting talking to you, innit? What's your name, by the way?
David.
Good lad.
God bless you, Gulam, okay?
You might see me more often. I can't.
No worries, Gulam, okay? No worries. Hopefully I'll bring in new stuff that'll blow your mind.
Okay.
All right?
Hopefully I can bring you stuff as well.
Go for it.
Cool.
I'm down.
All right.
Yeah? God bless you. All right. That was the conversation, just very generalist. We're talking about the incarnation and if that represents any change in God. Summary to that, it doesn't represent a change in God in the same way that when God creates our reality, He doesn't change. All that changes is our reality. It wasn't there, now it is there. There's like two terms that I think I've heard the Catholics use. So for example, you have ad intra and ad extra processions. The ad intra would be inside of God. So that's why you would have the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. And there's only two processions in God and three persons. Now, when you have everything in the created order, in the world of form and matter, that would be something that's an ad extra, outside of God, procession. So when we have the universe, God isn't changing in His essence. And when you have the incarnation, the same thing applies. God isn't changing in His essence. The only thing that's changing is our reality. At one point there wasn't a Jesus, and at a different point there is a Jesus. So the only change that occurs is in our universe and not in God Himself. And I gave the brother Gula an understanding of this based upon what we know of the dwelling of the presence of God in the temple and in the ark. There's a precedence for it. It's happened before. And a similar concept is happening in the person of Jesus. And so that's one way that you can explain how when you had the dwelling, there wasn't a change in God, and that's accepted by both the Jews and the Christians. And so in a similar fashion, when you have the incarnation, although different, there isn't a change happening in the essence of God. There you go. But anyway, he was a nice guy, so hopefully we can talk more about that. And lastly, I talked to him about the conception within Islam of them descending from Ishmael, and how Ishmael is the father of the Arabs. Well, there's two problems here. The first problem is that the Arabs as a people are not extremely old. They aren't as old, for example, as like the Jewish people, if you will. They don't have a history going back 5,000, 10,000 years. But then ironically, in their own sources, particularly in Bukhari 33:64, they imply, or they say very clearly, that Ishmael and his mother, Hagar, were joined by a group of people when she made a well. And these people lived with them and taught Ishmael Arabic. And later he joined them and married into them, implying that the Arabic people already existed, according to their own sources, before Ishmael. In that way, he couldn't be a father of the Arabs, and instead he merely joined them. So in that sense, Ishmael is more so of a half Chaldean and a half Egyptian than the father of the Arabs. But hey, he seemed open to it, he took it on board, and then we'll talk more in the future, and let's see if we can get him any more information.